Hi everyone, welcome to Deadline Dilemmas. Double Game Week 24 is finally here. Loads to discuss. So let's get straight into it. Praz, how you doing, my friend?
I'm good. So first thing to say is actually we're recording after the Wednesday night games. So usually we do Thursday night because I'm traveling tomorrow. So thank you for accommodating me, Mo. I don't know
No
when we
worries.
publish it. Are we going to publish it on Thursday or Friday?
That's a good point, actually.
We
Yeah,
will
let me
see.
think
We'll
about
figure it out. But
Yeah.
people should know if they're listening to it on a Friday that we don't know yet what happened in the Thursday Europa League games. Maybe we publish it tomorrow anyway. We'll talk to the higher ups, like the big dogs like Tom, and then we'll see what we have to do. But what is important is we're coming off this Champions League high. Like I was going through the goal show, and man, it's like a dopamine hit after dopamine hit. There were 32 goals in the
My
first half.
goodness. My
And
goodness.
my son was watching with me and he was just going mad. I was like, he's not going to sleep tonight. Like it was incredible. So no, it was fun.
If he thinks football's normally like that, he's going to get a shock when
Exactly.
he's watching Bournemouth versus.
This is the thing. Sometimes I let him stay up for the first halves for these Monday night footballs and stuff. And usually he complains to me that, look, there's been no goals. Can I just not watch the up to the 60th minute? I'm like, no, you can't. Now he's watched 32 goals tonight. He will never complain again.
He will love it. You know what, Praz? I used to have the same. I used to take my son to watch, say, live football matches when he was young, especially. And the game's 0-0. And he's like, I'm saying to him, it's a good game. He just can't figure it out. He's like, he's almost bored when he's really young. I was like, no. And he didn't want to come back at times. If you get like 2 or 3 0-0s, you're in trouble with the young ones.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Today, he didn't watch the Champions League highlights, but I was boring and watched the Liverpool match, Praz, even though that's how committed I am, even though we're already through in top spot.
Yeah. Well, even if you came second, it didn't matter, right? Right? First or second would get the same draw. Like it's a 50-50 on who you get between 17th and 18th. So
I thought
it
it actually
actually
did
did
matter.
not.
Okay, all right.
Other
So
than
even
just
if
saying we
Barca
finished top of the league of the Champions League group, Liverpool were the first club ever in the new format to finish top of the group stage. No, that didn't matter first or second.
Well, anyway, I still enjoyed it. I got to see Gakpo, which we should mention. He's hot topic. We're going to talk about him later on. He did play 50 minutes, came off to standing ovation via the PSV fans, came off, took a penalty as well, Praz, and scored it. So that's pretty interesting as well.
I saw it.
Obviously.
Didn't celebrate.
Yeah, but obviously Salah wasn't there, so we shouldn't get too excited. But at least it's something else added.
Well,
to
he scores a brace and then they win a penalty, and Salah says, "Go on, then get your hat trick. Why not?"
That would never happen.
Salah will never do it.
I was about to say to you, Salah will never do that. It's impossible. I can tell you that now. But that's a good segue straight into my team, because I've got loads of dilemmas I want to discuss with you, Price. So I'm going to run you through my team. So, spoiler, I've made 1 transfer. We're going to come to him later on.
1? I've made 3.
You've gone fully in. So your team, there's even more excitement. But then I've got more transfers potential. I've still got more to make, Price. So let's go. So I've got Sales in goal. He's not gone yet.
Wait. My eyes. I can see a striker in your team.
You've already looked there. I was gonna work.
Okay, start from the top.
I was gonna just work you nice and slowly, get you up there. Excuse me. I knew you was gonna love that move. So Sales in goal. Okay, he's still there. Potentially he could go. We're gonna discuss that in this pod. Trent, double game week. Gabriel currently starting, although I have Hall on the bench, so that's a discussion point. Mikalenko, another doubler. More than happy to have him starting. In midfield, I've got Salah, Palmer, Hot Property, Mbumo, and Gordon. And then up front, your favorite, Ndai has joined. He has finally come in, and he's replaced Raul Jimenez. And I'm going to tell you the thinking behind that. I'm going to come to that in a minute. And then I've got Wood up front and Isaac. Bench is currently Fabianski, Hall, who is that? Saar, who's been a very disappointing, and Greaves, who actually scored last weekend. So he's another discussion point.
Yep.
So let me start off with the player, the first transfer I made. Raul Jimenez has gone for Ndai. Now, you're mostly thinking, why did I do that move? I know.
It's perfectly fine, man.
I think it's a decent move. And I'll say the thinking behind it as well, just so you know. I know, for example, Everton, we know they're goal shy. I mean, they've got a little bit better under Moyes, but they're goal shy. No DCL. Hopefully, he's actually fit. That's the first and most important one. And penalty taking as well. The Leicester game, I think, is a good entry point. The Liverpool game is a bonus. It is what it is. After that, he can go into the bench because I've already started to plan. Game week 25, I'm looking to do Saar to one of the Bournemouth Ronaldinhos they currently have in midfield. So more than likely Clivert, okay? So that means I'll be playing a 3-5-2, and then I can take Raul Jimenez's position, which was bench. And when I do need him, if I'm desperate, play him.
Yeah,
So
that's fair.
that was the thinking behind that move. I wasn't too concerned. I went a bit early, actually, because I like to wait. So that's the first move I've done. As you see, I had 4 transfers. So I've got 1 million in the bank as well. The other moves I'm contemplating, obviously, I was waiting for tonight, is Gakpo to Chris Wood. Sorry, vice versa. Chris Wood out, Gakpo in. So that will give me triple Liverpool and 2 Everton. So it's 5 doublers for double game week 24. So that's the other move I'm contemplating. Apart from that, I think I will save the other 2 transfers. I can't see anywhere else that I need to make moves. What do you think?
I think it's perfect. Like, your defense looks absolutely great. Of course, there's a little bit of temptation to go Pickford instead of Sells, but I think Sells is absolutely fine. You don't need to do that.
Yeah.
Your midfield is fine. Everybody is looking to get an Mbumo this week.
Yes.
I think the only thing I would say is you could potentially do the Sar to Kluivert move a week early, but we'll do a little bit of a Bournemouth chat.
All
and
right.
I would think it's more sensible to wait because you're not playing him anyway.
Exactly that.
Might as well see him play another couple of games. He'll play this game. He'll play the FA Cup game. You'll get to see how if Tavernier comes back into the fold, if they sign somebody over the transfer window. So I think it's just very sensible, man. Like I have nothing else. You know what they say? Nothing. I have nothing else to teach you. Like this is
so this is sounding really good at the moment. So
yeah.
And you think the Chris Wood to Gakpo is a no-brainer?
I don't think it's a no-brainer because Wood's like 70% owned. So, there is a little bit of fear factor in losing somebody like him, and home to Brighton is a good fixture. Like there's nothing wrong with it. So you are taking him on in a way, especially for a player like Gakpo who, maybe he starts the double. After the double, you'll be panicking every week. Does he start? Does he not? Look, he's firmly, I think, the second best choice from Liverpool. Attack.
Agree.
So you could still go double defense. Of course, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But from an attack point of view, he's clearly ahead of a Diaz or a Jota or a Darwin. So there's nothing wrong with him. But I don't think it's a no-brainer as well. Like you could have also thought about, let's say, Sells to Alisson. That's not a bad move either. But I get it. Look, Gakpo's in form. He looks like the guy after Salah who's getting the responsibility, getting the minutes. So no harm.
The reason I was considering Alisson at one stage, then I keep thinking about blank game 29. But you're going to say to me, but you're already tripled up. But I was thinking it's easier to change an outfield player. It always feels more painful for a goalkeeper. But if that makes sense, I know it sounds silly, but just to move an outfield, I feel like I can make more gains. We're in goal. You don't really want to touch them unless I wild card, preferably. Because I do have the move there. Part of me was thinking, do I still go Pickford? I have 6 doubles, but I don't think that's necessary.
5 is enough. If you have 3 Everton, then that's one or two too many because you'll have to deal with them later.
Agree.
Like either play them or have them benched, and so that makes your squad a little bit weaker. Because after this week, until game week 29, I don't want to play them either. Like Pickford is different in the sense that a goalkeeper can score points, has multiple routes to points. It's not the end of the world if you have to play them. But Indai, Mikolenko, they should come nowhere near your starting lineup in the next 3 game weeks after this.
I mean, you say that, but their fixtures are not that bad, though, are they?
Yeah, but they are bad. That's the thing.
The Everton are bad. Yeah, but I mean, this is Moyes' Everton.
So they should lose Crystal Palace. They should. Okay, Man United. Okay, draw. Let's say if I'm being a very cynical Man United fan, they should lose Brentford away. They should lose Wolves away. Okay, maybe draw Wolves away.
Nah, Wolves. Yeah.
Okay, they can win. I don't want to turn off like Everton fans. They are on and up. They just beat Brighton, so I don't want to shit on them too much. But I'm just saying, they're Everton picks. Like, what are you expecting? Indai, you've got took a penalty, did well. How much was his non-pen XG in that game? Do you know?
It's not good at all. I didn't check that specific one.
I'll tell you.
Actually, what was it?
0.0.
Yeah, because I went and checked his other games before buy-in, and I was thinking, oh, this is why no one owns him. There was hardly any shots. There's like a couple of games where he had like 1 or 2. So I'm in agreement. That is on the level of punts. That's up there. It really is. This is a double game week. Us FPL managers, even as experienced as us, especially me, I still get sucked in to moves like this. Normally, I wouldn't go near. Who goes near an Everton attacker? But here we are.
And you sold João Pedro for him, right?
No, Jimenez. Raul Jimenez.
Oh yeah, Jimenez. Okay. So you didn't have the star player anyway. So now maybe you can even go and die back to João Pedro.
I love that you're still backing João Pedro where he is being sold. He is being sold by the by the millions. Everyone's fed
Fine,
up with him.
no problem. People basically have this thing, this expectation that players under 6 million are supposed to perform like Salah and Palmer. And fair enough if they think people are. So it used to be Rogers. Then they lost patience with Rogers. Then it used to be Enzo. People lost patience with Enzo. Then there was some Fulham guys, like Smith Rowe, Iwobi.
Iwobi, yeah,
People lost patience there. And it was Ahmad. Yeah, I even see people selling Ahmad for Clivert. I'm like, what the hell, man? Like, it makes no sense. And forwards is the same. Like, under 6 million, apart, okay, Chris Wood is now above 6 million. But again, there's very little patience with these guys, even penalty taking forwards. So I'm not saying João Pedro is amazing, but I think if every team has 2 or 3 sub 6 million players,
yeah.
whether that's 2 in midfield or 1 in midfield, 1 in attack, there's a combination. And what I'm trying to say is at the moment, it's okay if you don't think it's João Pedro, but I don't think he's far off. Like, if you compare him to other non-penalty taking midfielders, like, people are now saying, oh, Dango is like the best thing since sliced bread. Man, watch him blank 2 times. People will be selling him
Yeah,
in droves as well.
yeah. I'm in agreement. Well, I've got another one of those players in my team, which a lot of us moved to as well. Saar. He was
Yeah.
a
Sar
little
was
bit of a
another one.
disappointment. He was another example, wasn't he?
Yeah.
That a lot of us jumped on. We had high hopes, but the injuries hindered it and minutes and whatnot. But so we've discussed Ndai. Potentially Gakpo's coming in for me. Well, I say potentially, it's almost 95% that move's happening. After that, the other dilemma I've got is: do you start Gabriel versus Manchester City, or do you
Yeah.
start Hall versus? Is that just a no-brainer for you? And or do you start Hall? I thought it was a viable discussion. Fulham, Newcastle. I know they had that beating against Bournemouth, and like you said, we're gonna have a Bournemouth discussion because they are flying, but they have redeemed themselves in the last game week. Newcastle. It's a bit more trickier, I thought.
It is trickier. I think, if you like, people have debates between Greaves and Gabriel. I don't think there's a debate there. But you see, with Arsenal, you know how the City and Arsenal games have gone in the past, right? You know
Yeah,
that this is the blueprint of that game.
yeah,
And you know that Arsenal's game plan will be get that corner and get Gabriel on it. So I just hesitate. Like, if your option is Greaves, of course, this is not an option. Like, I don't
yeah.
think you should be playing Greaves over Gabriel. Now, the Hall one, you have me a little bit, confused, like whether you should indeed play Gabriel or Hall.
Let's
I'm not
have a
too
look at
sure.
this. Let's see if this can help us as well. Let's have some of the data up on the screen here. And when we look at where's Newcastle, where are they? Newcastle versus Fulham. Newcastle's clean sheet odds are 32%. Okay, and then who's the alternative? Is Arsenal's 20. It's pretty close. It shows you how strong Arsenal are defensively. And then, like you said, with Gabriel's prowess and set pieces, it's always scary. And his ownership. I don't know.
I mean,
That one there,
I can understand you
still...
taking it on. I can understand you taking it on by saying, look, it's Man City. Man City are scoring goals for fun. Although first half, this tonight also, they were very poor.
Yeah.
Second half, of course, different team. But I get it. Like, if you wanted to play Hall, Hall has the upside. He has set pieces. He can get you an attacking return. He can get you a clean sheet. So it's okay to take on Gabriel with higher clean sheet odds as well.
And also, you saw Arsenal's defending for that goal. That was a bit shocking. So,
well, that was the keeper, though.
Yeah, did you see what the keeper tried to make the save near the halfway line?
Right.
But and Raya, is he going to be fit for the weekend? So,
I mean, after this performance by Neto, I feel Raya will be back. Like, I don't think he's going to miss Man City. Like,
was it sickness?
I doubt.
I've not even had a chance to catch up.
They said he's not ready to play or something like that.
Yeah, that's
but he did travel, so we'll find out, or we won't.
Yeah.
But
So you think on that one, I've currently got it right? You think Hall and Gabriel? It's pretty tight, isn't it? Yeah. I've got it like this at the moment. Let's just say that Gabriel's winning. I could change it. Maybe something sways me, but that's the only decision I've got currently at the moment. Can you see anything else I need to improve or change? Anything else you would do?
No, I think you need transfers for next week, because if Newcastle do make it to the final, then Gordon becomes, for me, a potential sell, because he has away Liverpool, Nottingham Forest, away Man City. Now, again, Man City you can interpret in any way.
Yeah.
But it's not a necessity that you need to have him, because then he'll have the blank in 29 as well. So you could think of moving him on next week, but he's absolutely fine this week. I'm selling him this week because I have no other option, because I have Bruno.
Yeah.
So, but apart from that, no, man. Team looks great. And of course, no triple captain because you've used it.
I've already used it, yeah. So this week is another week where we don't need to discuss captains, because triple captains. We need to. I'm using it as protection this week. It's bad that, I'm not going to go against him this week. No chance.
Exactly. But for people who are considering it, what are your thoughts between assistant manager and triple captain?
I think I prefer assistant manager around end of the season. For me personally, I've done some details on assistant manager. Obviously, I didn't have that discussion thinking, because obviously I've used my triple captain, but I did look at assistant manager and I'm thinking further down the line at the end of the season. But if people want to go this week, I think the triple captain is the better option personally. Where else? There's only 2 more doubles. Where else? When are you going to get
33 and 36?
Yeah,
but the 33 double. Who does Salah play? Leicester.
Is it Leicester and who's the?
Well, it depends. So second one could be Villa away or could be Spurs at home. So that's a nice double. Leicester away and Spurs home, if that happens. But it may not happen, right?
It might not.
Could lose to Spurs and not even make it to the Carabao Cup final, and he may not even have the double.
Yeah.
Same for Man City. Like Man City in 36 have Southampton at home. If they make the FA Cup semi-final, then they'll have a double as well in 36. That includes Southampton at home. No, they've already played Southampton. We triple captained him for Southampton.
Yeah.
Which one do they have in 36? Hold on. Man City. It's Southampton away. So they will have Southampton away and another fixture if they make the FA Cup semi-final. But they may not. So you have to sort of just play what's in front of you, to be honest.
That's what I personally think. And also, if you did want to wait and that double game week later on down the line didn't materialize, I've played triple captain. I know it's not going to sound in single game weeks many times, and it's actually works for me most of the times in double game weeks. I know we always should do. I'm not going against it, but I'm saying if you did save it and that double game week you're speaking about didn't materialize, you could still use it in a single game week.
Yeah.
But for me, what's your take? What's your take on that? The question you asked me then. Assistant manager versus.
I would also lean towards saying play triple captain, because I just think it's sensible. Salah is in form. Liverpool are in form. He has a double game week. You get 2 bites at the cherry. He could score a double return in either. He could get 1 return in each.
Yeah.
That's like a 10 to 20 pointer easy, and that's a good return for triple captain. You don't need to get greedy. So I would do it.
Yeah. I'm in agreement. I would use it. I think we're going to see loads of managers using it now this week. I'm curious. Oh yeah, they've already tweeted it, the official account. How many managers have already used it? Assistant manager.
Mate, if you're not playing a chip this week,
we're in trouble.
Like, you are not in trouble, but don't expect a green. Like, start with assuming that you're going to get a minus 10% red minimum.
So all of this excitement, all of these double game week plays I'm bringing in, and you're telling me I'm going to get a red arrow.
I mean, unless Ndai scores a brace against Leicester, which no one owns, pretty much all the players you have, Gakpo, Salah, Trent, are going to be widely owned. Salah is going to be over 200%, so your captaincy is going to actually not get you positive points. That doesn't mean you shouldn't captain. Like, people will say, if I'm not even going to celebrate my captain points, why should I captain him? Well, the answer is, if you don't captain, things will happen to you that we cannot say on this podcast if Salah basically goes mad.
You delete your team, basically. Yeah.
So you don't want to be at the wrong end of 220% EO or 250% EO. I think it will not be more than 250, because a lot of people have played their triple captainship, and some people may just decide not to do it. Like, I think there will be a chunk of people that will decide, look, I'm going to play assistant manager. I'm going to not play it on Salah, and I'll just hope to get lucky. Like, people who didn't play it Haaland home to Ipswich and Southampton, they were also hoping for something, right? They were hoping for weather postponement. They can be another one, like not a weather postponement, but they can be something else which causes another double game week. So people can also just leave it and say, I'll see what happens later. You may then just say, as a backup, I'll just do it Salah home to Southampton. He still has to play home to Southampton, or Palmer home to Southampton, or Palmer home to Ipswich or Leicester. So 250 is 240 would be my guess.
And I'll tell you what, it's a hard double game week, because now that's the segue into the Bournemouth discussion. Bournemouth are flying. They've scored 9 goals in the last 2 games. They're statistic, and not just any teams. This is not they weren't playing the bottom teams. This is against Newcastle, Nottingham Forest. Solid defenses. I was looking at some of their statistics as well. Their stats are incredible. Like, their pressing and all that. At the top of they lead a lot of the stats, so they're there on merit. So the Liverpool game, from an even non-FPL perspective, I'm quite worried about that game, actually. I just want the win first and foremost, because I hope people are not going in there thinking we're going to thrash them. It's a very difficult game. They are strong. And then Everton, being Moyes, It's the last Merseyside derby at Goodison Park. I know that's not exactly going to make them an incredible team, but it will add something. They're not going to want to be embarrassed at their last derby. So I'm still hoping Liverpool win, but I'm just saying I'm not sure if the thrashings are going to be there that people are expecting. So it's it is a difficult double.
But if you don't thrash, like if you go to Rob T's numbers, right? The expected goals for Liverpool combined in the two games combined, 2.15, 2.15, you're basically saying 4.3 goals.
Yeah.
And if you say Salah is involved in about half the number of goals, which has been the ratio, you're basically saying 2 returns. So you're getting 2 returns, 4 appearance points, probably a clean sheet. So, basically that's 4 points for appearance, 1 point for clean sheet. Let's call 2 returns like a goal and an assist. Let's be conservative. That's 13 points. Let's give him bonus for 3 points. That's 16 points. So he's expected to score a lot of points, which is more than what people got in Game Week 9. Like you and I got 6. People got 19 in Game Week 2. If you end up closer to that 19 figure, you should be very, very happy.
If you get near anything, even near 15 points, it's a good double game week. I'm just saying, excuse me, for those who are considering holding it, because they're not comfortable with the double game week. Okay, I can understand that as well, because it is two difficult games. So it's not a given. Let's just say that.
Exactly.
Which is a good segue into your team then. So it's rare you go early actually. This season you've been doing it. That's because the free transfer buffer. So tell us, go through your team then.
I mean, it's rare because I have exact money in the bank. So I had no other choice. Like even now, I have 1 free transfer. I will probably make that free transfer and I will do Gordon to Mbeumo. So I'll start from the top. I have Pickford in goal. So Raya has gone for Pickford. Gabriel is starting. Mykolenko has come in. So Robinson has gone for Mykolenko. And the thinking with Robinson was easy. I don't have any fixture in the future where I will play Robinson over Munoz. So the idea was I don't need a 4th defender that I will basically always be benching. So I'd rather have a Mykolenko there. So that released 0.7 million for me because Robinson was 5 million, Mykolenko was 4.3 million. So I needed that 0.7. I didn't want to do Raya to Pickford, and I may not have done it if I didn't need the money, but I'll talk about it. Basically, then I wanted to do Chris Wood to Gakpo. There was no way I could have done João Pedro to Gakpo because the funds didn't allow, because I want to keep Bruno Fernandes. So this is what led me to do Chris Wood to Gakpo. To do that, I needed another 0.2. And where do I get it? From Raya to Pickford. Because Raya to Pickford basically gives me that 0.2 to get from Wood to Gakpo, and also gives me the 0.3 to get from Gordon to Mbeumo. So the idea would be that the team would basically be not too different from yours, except that I'd have, instead of Gordon, I'd have Bruno.
Yeah.
And I'd have João Pedro instead of your Wood. No.
Ndai.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So that's the thinking. And of course, a different keeper. So it's not too radical, but I've had to use a few transfers to get there because I have not had Mbeumo. I've not had the Everton guys. So I have had to use some transfers, but this is why I was saving every single week. So I'll be using all 4 of my free transfers this week. And the idea is that next week I will again use a free transfer and do Sar to a Bournemouth midfielder.
Yeah.
I may not be able to afford Kluivert, but I'm equally happy to go Semenyo or even Otara, depending on where they land in terms of any signings or things like that. So, and then again, I will go into slumber mode, no free transfers until game week 29, and then we will see where we have to go.
I've got questions for you. Right. Yeah. Let me start. How gutted was you, first of all, you didn't do the Gakpo, Chris Wood to Gakpo last week?
Not at all.
Being honest, come on. I was gutted.
Hand on heart.
I was so close, and hindsight after that, I just sat there and said, why didn't I do it? So, and you wasn't. Why wasn't
not
you?
Even close. Not even close. Because at the time, I was not sure on Gakpo, and my gut was telling me I should do Raya to Alisson. How many points did Raya score? 9. How many did Alisson score? 2.
Yes.
So going early, I can't now go in hindsight and say, oh, I would have done Wood to Gakpo. No, I could, if I wanted to go early, there was an equal, if not a higher chance. People know who listened to me on the wire that I was more keen on the Alisson move.
Yeah.
And the only reason I waited was because I wanted to see what happens with Fabianski. That was the main reason why I waited, that I wanted to see if Fabianski is still keeping his position. So by being patient, I avoided going Alisson, and now I have the opportunity to go Gakpo. If I had not been patient, I could have made the mistake. Like some people went for Alisson now and have slight regrets. Like, let's not kid around. Like anyone who's gone Alisson and has now seen that Fabianski's dropped and they've seen that Gakpo is going to be mass owned now for the double game week, they're not sitting very comfortably. So waiting never hurts. Yes, it hurt in points because this guy scored 16 points. He hasn't scored that all season.
Mega haul.
I got a really big green arrow anyway. So it we go into this
surprise.
We go into this FOMO thing of, oh, I should have done this move. Well, you could have also done something else which could have been bad.
Yeah, I know. It's just, obviously, I'm asking that question. It's a loaded one in hindsight, because me personally, your thinking made perfect sense. For me, I was almost not going to go to goalkeeper because I had sales. So I was so close to making that move. And I had the transfers, and I thought, why didn't I be more aggressive and just do it? But obviously, I only thought this when I saw the points after, and I was like, okay. It almost feels like we're chasing.
It wasn't easy. Now that everyone has seen that Chris Wood doesn't score every single goal a game, they just got smashed by Bournemouth. Then they realize actually Chris Wood is sellable. Like it's not the end of the world if you sold Chris Wood for Gakpo. Yeah. So I think it's also a little bit of community holding each other's hands and saying, maybe we can sell Chris Wood, guys. It's okay. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah. Another question for you: why is Bruno Fernandes still in your team? And you've spoken about him as in he's staying for a little while, and players like Gordon going, where clearly there's what's the explanation for that? I'm just curious myself as well, maybe some others. What is the thinking behind him? Is it just because he's playing for your team and he's a penalty taker? Or there's not enough other options?
He's a good pick, man. He's the same as Mbeumo. Like, people just love Mbeumo because he's cheaper. I see no difference between him and Mbeumo. He has the same attributes of playing 90 minutes on penalties, taking set pieces, being talismanic for their team, and playing for a bottom half team. I'm sorry, I'm even willing to admit that, right? So just because he's Bruno, people hate him, and he's a little bit more expensive, so they can't get to him. But for me, he's an elite FPL pick in terms of what he provides. Maybe not for your eye. He can blank and get 2 bonus. He can basically get 1 assist and end up with an 8-pointer in a game. He is a good pick. Like, if you don't like it, no worries. Like, I will hold on to him. I'm not convincing anyone to keep him. But he's playing Crystal Palace at home this week. He's playing Spurs. Everybody's dying to get Mbeumo this week because he's playing Spurs. Bruno plays Spurs next week. He plays Everton the week after, Ipswich the week after. Then he has a tough fixture against Arsenal in 28, which is at home, but it's still tough. Yeah. And then he plays Leicester in the blank. I'm not selling him.
No, fair. But I just wanted to hear it because I was in agreement with you. Don't forget, we both went for him in the same game week. The difference is when he got the red card, I got frustrated and went to Saar, where you stuck with him, and he's returned for you, like you said. So I was just curious, just in case anyone's asking, because Gordon is still playing
after the red card, he's got 1 assist.
Yeah,
where he ended up getting bonus as well. So he got a 7-pointer.
Yeah, 7 points. Wasn't that against Liverpool?
Yes.
Yeah.
Then he blanked against Southampton, but he still got 2 bonus anyway.
Yep.
Then he scored against Brighton. So in the 3 games after the red card, he's returned. I mean, if you count 2 bonus as a return, he's returned in 3 games. He basically blanked away to Fulham, and now people say he's a rubbish FPL pick. So fine, man, sell him. Like, I'm not asking anybody to hold him, but don't come to me.
You're comfortable holding him. You're more than happy. No issues there.
You are going to be playing Gordon. I'll be playing Bruno. Bruno will play in that same period that Gordon has. We'll be playing Palace home, Spurs away, Everton, Ipswich, and Leicester. Yeah. And you'll be playing Liverpool away, Forest, Man City away, West Ham blank.
As if I've still got him by then, but yeah. For now, I like the Fulham and Man City fixtures for Gordon, but after that, you're right. It's time to evaluate. Yeah, I think the Man City fixture is a good fixture for him, and the Fulham one, not too bad. But I agree with you there. Yeah, the fixtures don't look great for him. He's at the bottom of this ticker here, which takes us up to game week 28.
And every video I do, I get comments like, Bruno is rubbish. I'm not asking you guys to vote him, but you want content creators to play their own game. Right? Not to have same teams. But now I have 2 players that people don't want, Bruno and João Pedro. Let me have them. I'm not telling you to buy them.
He taking it out of me. He taking it out of me. I'm only asking the question. I'm joking.
I have to justify Bruno every video. Whereas Mbeumo blanks for 4 weeks. No, Bruno's a darling. We're going to keep Mbeumo. He can do well in any fixture. Because of why? Penalties, minutes, set pieces. That's the same for Bruno.
I won't have a bad word said about Mbeumo. He's been my superstar since I've kept him in my team. And you saw this weekend, his power, even when he misses a penalty.
Yeah, he makes it. Did you see Did you see that replay?
Yes.
VAR first they looked at Guehi, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, they didn't find anything. Then they start looking at the keeper. Maybe he was, he left the line because I know VAR owns Mbumo. I'm sure about this.
100%. Yeah, they
They were
had him
like,
in the
how
team.
can we
Yeah.
how can we make sure that this is a pen? So
What was more funny is his teammates running and celebrating before he took the penalty. Did you see it?
Wissa,
That's how,
Wissa did it.
yeah, that's how confident they are.
And
But
we,
okay, so
we saw tonight in the Champions League when Watkins and Sterling take pens, that scoring a pen is not easy, man. Like these people who do it on a weekly basis or a consistent basis every single time, being accurate, powerful, and scoring, it's not easy at all.
Yeah, I think the penalty itself is one of the easiest chances you're going to get. I should say that. But when you add the situation around it, then it does get a little bit more tense, a bit more trickier. Okay, so you've answered the Bruno question. The one last question I was going to ask you. So Mikalenko's come in, but I think you've almost answered it because you needed the money. But I was going to say, forward thinking, you didn't think someone like a Kirkez or a Bournemouth, with their lovely fixtures coming up, wasn't there a way? Because you're going to start saving transfers up from next week. And I was thinking,
but who will I play Kirkez instead? Like look at Crystal Palace, right?
Okay, all right. Let's have a look at this. I was going to go back to your team.
So this week I'm benching Munoz.
Yep.
After this, Munoz plays Everton home, Fulham away, Villa home, Ipswich home. Why would I bench Munoz for any of those?
Nah, he's so attacking as well. Yeah.
So I'm not benching Trent. Look at Arsenal's fixtures: Leicester away, West Ham home, Forest away, Man United away. I'm not benching Gabriel in any one of them.
No.
Look at Liverpool's fixtures: Wolves home, Man City away. Still, it's Trent. Newcastle home, Southampton home. I'm not benching Trent. Yeah. So Trent, Gabriel, and Munoz are basically perma plays between 25 and 28. So I don't need a Kirkes. If one of them gets injured or the situation changes, I think Bournemouth defender from 25 looks great. So it's very team dependent. If you don't have Munoz, you could think about getting a Kirkes. If you have him, think about rotation, right? These are things that are important. Like I had Robinson and Munoz rotating throughout because Munoz had tougher fixtures before. But now that comes to an end.
And that's the reason I ask you that question, because I don't have Munoz. So maybe next week, I know I've already almost transferred in a Bournemouth midfielder, but maybe there's a space for a defender. If I think Hall, we just spoke about a minute ago, Newcastle's fixtures, maybe Hall's time's up. And if I can get to, that might be something I should look into. What do you reckon?
Absolutely. Especially you will get the benefit of knowing if Newcastle are actually through to the final and they're blanking in 29. Yeah. You'll have a better view. Are you looking to free hit in 29 or not? And so then you can take a more, a better judgment in terms of should you sell Hall. I think Hall could be a sell if you're not free hitting in 29 to a Kirkes, or who else can it be? Like it could be even not a Brentford defender. I don't love that.
No,
could even
I don't
be
like Brentford, no.
Chelsea defender. Again, people will not like to hear it. But home to Southampton, home to Leicester, if the rotation works. They're decent picks. But Hall can be a sell after this week.
I think so as well. That's the reason I asked that question. For you, you almost answered it already, but with the free plays you've got, like you said, they're not going to be dropped up until game week 29. But for me, there is potential there.
Exactly.
There is definitely potential. Okay, so I think, and there's nothing to talk about captaincy. I think this week, everyone and their dog will be.
So I'm looking at the captaincy numbers on live FPL.
Mm-hmm.
The number of chips played in game week 20 up until game week 23, triple captain has been played by 29% of managers. So 71% of triple captains could be deployed this week.
Wow.
That could make the EO as high as 271%.
Yeah.
Now, assuming not everybody plays the triple captaincy this week, there are some dead teams in the top 10K. There are some still, as depressing as it sounds, but there are. I would say, their EO could be about 250.
Which makes it not much fun for our captains. Let's just say that.
For non-triple captainers. But you have to accept the pain, man. Like, you got the gain then. You get the pain. If he... Look, I don't know. What is your... I will take that score kind of?
15 points.
I think between 12 to 15, if he scores, I'll take it.
I'll take it 100%. I don't want to see, and me, this is a Liverpool fan here, I don't want to see you start passing 20 points and like a KDB special.
I have been through it. You know that season where he had Leeds at home and Norwich at home?
Yeah.
Game week 26? Did you triple captain him?
Yeah. Why you didn't?
No. I played my wildcard that week.
Oh, wow.
So I have been at the other end of he scored 26 points.
Yeah.
I got a 15K green arrow. Because
you still got green arrow.
because
Man,
I
hand
had a wild
games.
card, and the wild card absolutely blew it out of the water. Like I had Robertson who got like 15 points. I had so you can still do well in this over the period, but in this week they will be pain. So prepare for pain, guys, if you don't are not playing a chip this week. And by the way, the next 2 weeks, because there'll be like a lot of assistant manager chips deployed every
Yeah.
week. They will get 10 points, 10 points. 10 points is a lot.
We're getting into a period where this new assistant manager chip changes the game because, like you said, we haven't had chip that plays consecutively for free. Obviously, you could use your wildcard bench boost and triple cap, we know, but that's quite rare. Where this one, it forces you, you're straight in to it. So I'm not sure what to expect here. If I can even stay with a grey arrow, I will take it over the next couple.
Between now and game week 29, let's say you're not playing a chip in game week 29 either, right? If you even hold your rank, you are flying. So anyone at any rank, by the way. So I'm sorry to say, like if you're sitting on 2 million and you have rank goals to reach very, very high, if you're not playing a chip, then it's going to be very, very hard. But at the same time, between game week 30 and 38, if you are playing assistant manager, bench boost, free hit, wildcard, it's a party.
Yeah.
It's going to be a party.
So you're saying in the next couple of game weeks, we should all be expecting grey or, if we're lucky, or red arrows. Okay.
This week, deep red arrow, deep, not just light red, deep red, and then you take it from there.
Why do I have this feeling you're still going to get a green arrow?
No, I can't.
You just said it a minute ago, even in that season
But
where Salah
then I played a
26
wild card.
points.
I had 11 doublers.
Yeah, but you still managed to somehow pull it out the bag. So fair play.
Not this week. You can't get lucky in a week where you're basically not owning a Salah that your field that 50% of the field owns.
Yeah, no, you're right. No, I'm in agreement with you. And just before we finish off, I think we've covered that's all the questions I had for your team and my team. I want to just jump on and have a quick look here to see if there's any form or any players that we don't own. We've got very similar teams now, apart, like you said, 2 or 3 players. Anything else that we don't own?
I mean, the elephant in the room is Chelsea is the highest XG game.
Yeah, I know.
Of all games. And Jackson, everyone sold Jackson, so no.
This is the game where he gets the hat trick, isn't it? That's how FPL works.
Yeah, exactly.
This is how FPL works. Although they've dropped off a little, Chelsea. I think we must say that recently, even their attacking.
He has as well. He got subbed off 60-ish minute, I think.
Yeah.
Now we don't know what is the situation with Nkunku and others, but anyway, we don't need to talk Jackson. I think FOMO, I don't think I have in any game. Like, of course, there will be Chris Wood FOMO for people who've sold him.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Basically, this is saying that Nottingham Forest should score 1.5 goal, which means Chris Wood is scoring. There's a decent likelihood of Chris Wood scoring.
A return.
There's
Apart
no Man
from
City
there's
FOMO.
not much. No, exactly.
There's no Arsenal FOMO.
Exactly what I was thinking. There's not much here, is there? We're pretty going into this game week. Like you said, it's apart from the triple captains and the chips, that's really what's going to get us team-wise. Nothing really else there. And the last thing I'm going to ask you before we finish off, so are you still confident? I think we're going to have the same triple up. I think it's almost turned out that's the best triple up, isn't it? Trent, Salah, Gakpo. You agree?
If you were free hitting, yes, I agree.
Yeah.
But if you're not free hitting, which not many people are, I understand a lot of people on double defense. Like you guys will not have to worry about that slot for a very long time. Whereas people with Gakpo every week will be looking at their lineup, one benching and people are panicking. He's dropping in price and people start selling. It's just, we've been there before with Diaz and with Jota. So I don't think it's a no-brainer to get Gakpo, especially if you already have an Alisson or a Konate or a Van Dijk. It's absolutely fine.
And I'm going to ask you a question I never thought I'd ask. What would be the best triple Everton?
That doesn't exist.
If he was going there,
look, Pickford for the saves. For the saves, a defender, I suppose, and Ndai. Like I don't like Beto at all. Like I've seen some Betos flying around. Problem with Beto is they might sign a striker. You just get the Leicester home game, and then that's it. It's end of his journey in your team. And the whole point of getting Everton is basically you also get a nice Game Week 29 fixture that you don't get with Beto.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't see the appeal. There is this O'Reilly or something. The other side, the Everton defender, is a little bit better on bonus compared to Mykolenko. And if money was not an object, then Tarkovsky is great.
One of the centre backs, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, totally
But you're
agree.
basically relying on the Leicester game to keep a clean sheet. Like that's it,
And
really.
the stats there look pretty impressive as well.
Yeah,
Predicted near 2
38% clean
goals,
sheet.
38%. It's pretty good for us Makalenko owners.
I mean, it's the reason people are going for them. This game and the home to West Ham game in Game Week 29. That's the main reason.
Yeah. Cool. I think we've covered everything we don't need to discuss anymore. Just remember, guys, we've recorded this a day earlier because Pras is jet setting around the world. So, but hopefully we've covered all your dilemmas. I've got all my questions answered, so I'm ready for double game week 24. So nothing for me to say apart from good luck.
Good luck, everyone, and prepare for the red arrows. Those who are not using a chip. All right.
You had to end it on a red arrow.
Brace yourselves. All right.
Bye bye. See you later.
Bye. Bye.